Yo, check this out. Now, if you're wondering what that is, you probably know because you've seen the title of the video. But if you want some boom in your machine, or if you want some boom in your DAW, Initial Audio has just dropped 808 Studio 2. And I'm going to go ahead and spoil it up front. If you didn't like the first one, this one right here, it is the bomb. Let's go. Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him, bless him. Hey, folks, welcome back to Blessed by G Beats. I am the G. Man, let me tell you something. This coronavirus is tough on creators with children. Because where I used to record videos when my wife would go to work and my children would go to work, it's like I have no time to record any type of video. So I'm finally back at it. My wife, she went to the grocery store. My children, they stay up all night now because of this coronavirus. So they've been staying up and then they sleep late. And my son, my oldest one, he just worked out. So I got a little bit of time to squeeze in here to make. I'm going to try to make about 2 or 3 videos today. So if you see this same shirt over and over, it's because I'm trying to get it in while I can. But nevertheless, let's get to what we came here for. So as you can see, I'm going to be working out on my Mac and the Native Instruments Complete M32. With my Mac, it's the 2012 MacBook Pro. I'll do a review on this one day, but it's the 2012 MacBook Pro. It's a beast with the SSD drives and the upgraded RAM, but it's 2012 MacBook Pro. So I have my screen recorder program on here, and it's going to be just a little bit laggy when you see the cursor, but I think the music and everything is still going to be right on time. Still going to be right on time. So nevertheless, let's get into this plugin. It's a really, really, really dope plugin when you look at it. It's been totally redesigned from the first time that I actually saw it. It has definitely been redesigned. So when we look at it here, I'm gonna blow it up just a tinge on the screen. When you look at it here, it's got a way better streamlined design that you can understand. And so what I'm gonna do first, because I'm not really a technical guru as it pertains to sound design and Initial Audio, one of the things that I've noticed about them, they seem to specialize in sound design. So whenever you're working with their programs, you have a whole bunch of options that I'm going to talk about here in just a second. But the first thing I want to do as it pertains to 808 Studio 2 is I want to run down through the presets. There's a reason why I want to get into these presets first. You begin with airy up here, blood, blow, clean, click, cotton, cream, cruise missile, crystal, custom, cyberpunk, dank, dark, darkness, deep waters, dirty, desto, donut, drank, drip, driven, fallout, 40. Can't get nothing out of Fallout. That might be a little too low or something. I don't know. Next, we got Freeway. Future. Gang. Gotti. Grime. Grind Hard. Grove. Heavyweight. Heavyweight. Not getting anything out of that. No problem. Highland. Not really sure. Not really sure what's going on with this. Okay, wife's about to hit Chick-fil-A. High Pass. Hit Hard. Looks like iBills or Ice Crusher. And don't worry, I'm holding down the key on this, but you can fix all of this with sustain and the sustain button here. Sustain and release. See, so don't worry, I'm doing that just because these are the presets of how they got them. But in shape, infiltrate. Got the initialize here, which is where you basically make your own. That's where we're going to spend some time. Ink, low end, max power. Not sure why some of these.
Octave +1. Octave 0.
Not really sure why some of these are not playing. Miami. Midnight. Monster. Not really sure. Nailed it. On ball. Peak. Pluck. Powder. Reezy. Riding. Riding low. RNG. Robots. Roundhouse kick. Rumble. Sauce. Sidekick. Not sure on that. Slick. Snapback. Sniper. Snoop. Not really sure why these are not doing it. Submarina. Sub-Zero. Not sounding. And it looks like it says there's no sample in there, so I see why it's not sounding. Okay, Subway. Superpower. Tension. Terminate. Streets. Now that one has a sample in there. No clue why it's not playing. No problem. Don't worry about that. I'll tell you why in just a second. Tory. Travis. Then we got West Coast. Okay. So neither one of those played. So you see these X's here. One of the things that's really exclusive, as far as I know, to 808 Studio 2 is the fact that it has a sequencer. So you drop this down, and you can actually program this in just like doing step recording. And they got some presets in here. This one is the big drip sequencer. Hold down the key. So if you wanted to make some, dope sub patterns, here you go. Now, the reason why I wanted to go through those presets first, this, in my opinion, initial audio, if you're listening, this is where initial audio dropped the ball. This plugin is a monster, but the but the presets, the presets are just really lackluster in my opinion. They're very lackluster. And so if you were somebody who was trying to compare this to probably Sublab, you might think that Sublab is way better than 808 Studio 2. And I would say, contraire, my friend, you really need to understand where they drop the ball is the presets. And this is where I would tell Initial Audio, go back, get some dope presets made for this thing. And don't sell the first set. Give them away free. Because this is a little bit more expensive than Sublab. Sublab is $40. This is $60. This, in my opinion, is probably more capable than Sublab. If you look at Ave McCree's review and overview of it, one of the things that you'll notice, and Ave was kind of pointing this out, Sublab is more focused on subs. 808 Studio 2, and one of the things I pointed out to Ave is 808 Studio 2 is more synth and sub. And I'm pretty sure you can make sub basses with Sublab too. Make sub basses with Sublab, but with Initial Audio, you can actually make bass synths. There's a lot of synthesizer stuff in here. You look at the fact it has not one oscillator, but it has two oscillators. It has a whole bunch of things to where you can really go overboard on sound creation. But let me get to my point. I'm going to run through the GUI, and then I'm going to show you where this plugin is the absolute bomb diggity. So we're going to go through here. Let's find our initialize. And we're going to go through the GUI. So first of all, here's where you get your bank name and all the sounds here on the left. And of course, you can right click any sound and it becomes a favorite, as you can see right here. And it's the same thing here. You can export bank and you can export the bank and all of this. And you can import a bank. Now, the thing is, and I know this is the first drop of the plugin. I'm pretty sure Initial Audio is going to really come through with some dope updates. For people who make sound packs, there's no way to export the subs that you create right out of the program. You would basically have to go into, for example, I'm using Maschine, and I'd basically have to just resample it through Maschine. But there's no way yet to export the subs that you make, which I think they should really implement that. I know they probably want to keep you in the program and things like that, but for sound creators, and as good as this is as a sound creator, people would probably want that functionality. So up here, you've already seen where this is the actual sequencer. Load, there's some of the presets, and of course, you can make your own. Something that I would probably never, that's how you turn it on basically, but something that I would never deal with, but I love the fact that they have the option in here. So let's kind of start here on this left side of the GUI. And notice it's in yellow, the right side is in green. And what this probably symbolizes for me is that this is the side to where you manipulate the actual sound, with oscillators and things of that nature and filters. On the right side, this, or, we could call this the middle. The middle, this green portion, this is where you process the sounds, where you got your compressor and EQ, chorus, and we're going to elaborate more. And then this is in yellow right here. This is the master section where you got your master volume, and things of that nature. You got velocity here, tones, you got side chain, glide, slide. You got the glide here where you can create your 808 glides if you want to, and then you have your side chain. So let's go back over here to the beginning. So when you look at the sampler, this works horizontal. You see these go left or right. With this section, same thing here. So this is where this plugin begins to shine. The sampler section. You can load in your own samples. And this is where I think Initial Audio dropped the ball, because even without you using your own samples, Initial Audio has some absolute crazy samples in here that the moment you pick these, this plugin comes to life. Let's see what we got here. This is the kick roundhouse. Let's go back. I've played with some of these already. So here we're going to turn off the sub oscillator here. So you can see immediately when you pick the 808 trap and you mess with the sustain and the release, right? Then, of course, you can turn the pitch down by the semitones to go down different octaves. So if we go 12 semitones, that'll get us down an octave. Right? So you can already see, then it has the sample drive here. Then you can come over to the oscillator, turn that on. Now, don't let this bother you, because this thing is so powerful as far as how you program it. And let me go left or right first. Let me turn that oscillator off. I'm telling you, this is where this thing really shines. So of course we got follow pitch to where it's automatically in key. You don't have to worry about that. So we already turned up the drive. We've turned our pitch down 1 octave. And you could go up if you want to. But when we go to the sub oscillator, don't worry. When you look at the sub oscillator, they have, once again, to where you can turn the octave down. And this is in semitones, I'm assuming, but they don't let you do semitones on the sub oscillator. They just let you do octaves. But listen. Turn up the drive. Don't worry. Turn it down. They got a bypass effects on here on the sub oscillator. Then, of course, if you want to, you can hit the fat button. Which seems to add even more low-end rumble to it. Now, let's go to the next one here. Now we got our oscillator 1. We can turn this on. Now you hear once again another octave. Once again you hear another high-pitched sound. Don't sweat it. Turn that down. 1 octave. Let's go 2 octaves. We got gain here. We can turn it down. Now here's the cool part. Look at all of the waveforms you have up under the oscillator. Boom. This thing is crazy. Turn down the gain on that joint. And you could just pick so many. You could just go to town. There's so many. And so the crazy part is, not only can you, 1 oscillator, 2 of these joints, 2. Octave down again. Look at that. You could just craziness, just insanity, man, the amount of things you can do with this. And then you can come right over here to the filter. You have drive, you have cutoff, and you have resonance. Now, when you start dealing with this, you're dealing with frequencies. So if you want to, you go through here. Turn some drive up. Look at that. Whoa. Turn up that resonance. Look at there. This thing is crazy, man. This thing is crazy. And of course, you come down here and you got the attack, decay, sustain, release. Sustain is basically where you want the release to begin. This thing's a monster, man. So when it comes to just the subsection alone, you can do all kinds of things. You got the option basically of coming up with a really dope sub and then having almost a synth over the top of it. And basically, we when we start dealing with subs, we want to deal with harmonics, because if you get a real deep sub, sometimes you can't hear it on a laptop. But if you add some harmonics into the upper frequencies, especially around the 200 to 250 mark, where the smaller speakers really where the smaller speakers can really catch on to that bass, man, you can do some things with this. So let's go to this effects section, because this to me where the magic begins. So the cool thing is you can put these in any order that you would like. And so kind of what I've noticed is at least when I'm messing with it, and this I'm doing this on my Mac, so bear with me. 2012. Okay, here we go. So you turn on the EQ. That's where the magic is, baby. This is where you can really start. If you want to just add those harmonics, around that 200 hertz, kilohertz. I mean, you can do all kinds of things. Take out some muddiness. Add some high end if you want it. Low, take that out. Emphasize that 60 hertz, which is where you get a lot of thump too, 60 to 80. I typically go with compressor second. Turn that threshold down. So now you decide how you want it. Do you want it to be at the front? Or let that attack through when you want it to release? Mix, makeup gain, basically. Yep. Put some overdrive on it. Woo! Yeah. Maybe we don't want overdrive. Maybe we want distortion. Oh. Maybe we want both. You can make some absolute nasty ones in here, man. Yeah. Nasty. Then you can put the chorus on here. Now, I'm not really sure why you would want chorus, other than because the subs, the sub and the bass, you want that in the middle. But I'm thinking that sometimes people kind of make the subs sound like they're in stereo. And so chorus would, I'm assuming, give you that kind of effect. See, this don't. Chorus rate, low pass. Doesn't really work for me. I would never use anything chorus, or at least I don't think I would, until maybe somebody told me what it would really, how it would really benefit. But nevertheless, filters, high pass, you can get some resonance on that joint too. Same thing, low pass. Pretty dope, man. Pretty dope. And so next you have the master section, the gain, which I wish this had a mono button on it. But it doesn't. But this is the gain. Of course, you got the velocity. It's off. This way, everything is, no matter what you do, everything's pretty much the same. See? but I would rather have that all the same. It's got a portamento, which is probably dealing with the pitch bend and things of that nature. Then you got the slide time. Now, I don't use this as much as I used to. There used to be a time, man, when 808 gliding was the thing. So you can glide your 808s. The octave of how high you want it to looks like. So you can have that as slow as you want to, as fast as you want to. And the cool thing is, which I think is really dope, is they have slide curves on here. So that's pretty dope. And then you got the side chain. Which can give you that the same thing you get when you could use a compressor and you side chain. You can get that thump to hit hard so that it doesn't clash with the actual sub. So you'd have to play around with that to really get the ultimate effect. But at the end of the day, 808 Studio 2 is absolutely dope. I think the only place that Initial Audio, once again, if I just had to give the cons, let's look at the pros. The pros. The sound manipulation capabilities with this plugin is crazy. Not only can you create dope subs, but you can create some dope sub basses. And when you play around with this, there are even just flat out kicks in here. There's just some flat out really good kicks in here. But the cool thing is, you can always drag in your own samples. I probably don't have time for that. But you can definitely use your own samples, which I think is a really big deal. You can use your own samples, but basically, this plugin is absolutely a monster. The only thing, the only place they drop the ball is the presets. The presets don't really, to me, showcase what this thing can actually do. And I hope Initial Audio puts together some tutorials on how to really get the best out of this. But you know, one thing for people who like to work with these kinds of plugins, there are those who like to go in and program their own subs. But a lot of people, when they really get into the flow of working, they would also like to just have some dope presets to start out with. Just a great starting point to say, man, that already sounds dope. If I just tweaked it here, and tweaked it here, boom, boom, boom. With this, those presets are very lackluster. So you're actually going to have to take time out, and you're going to have to really sit down, dig in, and program some of your own dope subs. So there it is. 808 Studio 2 is an absolute monster, especially for people who are really into sound creation. And sometimes, man, when you have beat block, and if you're one of those type of people, guess what? Go in and start creating your own subs on those days, and maybe creating your own subs will give you some inspiration to make a really, really dope beat. So that, you know, that's it. It is what it is. 808 Studio 2 is a very dope sub plugin. And don't let the presets run you off from this plugin, man. I'm telling you, this thing is absolutely a monster. So, Initial Audio, I'm going to be doing a video making a beat with this pretty soon. And I'm going to be not only using this, but I'm also going to use Sector. I'm going to use Sector also to make a beat with this because Sector is a very dope plugin that not a lot of people know about. But you can, it came out a while back, but you can definitely get it at a very cheap price most of the time. But nevertheless, that's my overview and review of 808 Studio 2. So for me, I think it is definitely a buy. And if you can get 808 Studio 1 for cheap, get it and then upgrade to this immediately. But nevertheless, you're going to be able to get some very dope sounds out of 808 Studio 2. So that's it for me. That's my time. So if you like what you've seen, like what you heard, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see. Let me know what you didn't like. Hit that like button and hit that notification bell so the next time I do another video, you will be notified. So until the next video, make sure stay in unless it's absolutely necessary. Stay safe. Keep grinding. Keep inspiring. Peace.